Hey there, Joy Seeker. I'm Jenn Zingmark, your LDS life and divorce coach, here to help you navigate the challenges of divorce with faith, grace, and resilience. It is the holiday season, friends, and what does that mean to you? For many of us, it brings expectations of creating wonderful family memories, which also means being in stressful family situations. The two go together, right? When you're dealing with divorce, that stress can be greatly amplified when you're dealing with your former spouse and their family members over the holidays. So today I want to discuss a topic that comes up often in relationships, especially when you're divorced, and that is dealing with toxic people. But here's the twist. I am reframing this idea completely. What if there are no toxic people? What if people simply are who they are, and the real power lies in how you choose to respond to them? Today, I'm going to explore how to take control of your relationships by focusing on your choices. Thanks so much for being here. I am so glad you're joining me today. Make sure you subscribe to my channel to get all of my latest videos every week and to stay faith-filled and thriving in your divorce journey. So let's get started. We all encounter challenging situations with people, and with more family gatherings over the holidays, we may be concerned about having more difficult situations with people, especially when you're dealing with divorce. And I hear the phrase toxic people a lot. So, what does that mean? I want you to really think about that, and I want you to answer that for yourself. Take a few minutes and think about it and write it down even. What does it really mean for someone to be a toxic person? Define it in your mind. What is a toxic person? And maybe you have a specific person in mind immediately and you know exactly who it is, and you can tell me all about why they're toxic. I can relate. I understand how you feel. But I want you to come up with a description of what defines a toxic person. What would you say? Because there really is no universal definition of a toxic person. When we use this phrase, we're usually describing someone whose behavior we find difficult or draining or harmful. But that is different for everyone. Everyone watching me today would probably have a different definition of what a toxic person does that makes them toxic. So, a toxic person is an entirely subjective label. But when we label someone as toxic or even narcissistic, we can oversimplify a more complex truth that people are who they are based on their experiences and their beliefs and their choices. And they're not inherently harmful or toxic or even narcissistic. They may act in ways that don't align with what we need or want, but that's okay, right? We all have agency and we all get to act the way we want. I want to drop a truth bomb on you here. Environments and people and circumstances in our lives are completely neutral. They are what they are, and they're not toxic or even healthy until we label them with these titles. So, does that blow your mind? Keep listening. Hang on. I will explain. I heard a coach friend of mine, Jolene Wynn, explain this in a terrific way. So I'm going to use one of the examples she uses. We recently had the presidential election here in the United States, and we had two very different nominees running for office, right? Both candidates have supporters who love them and hate them. And if a person really is toxic, everyone in the world would agree that they are toxic. But with these two candidates, our country was almost split in half with supporters on both sides thinking the other candidate was toxic. So who's right? Well, that is a discussion for a whole different show, and I'm not going to go there. Each of us have our own perception of these candidates based on our own ideas and experiences. And it's not the candidates themselves that create the feelings and emotions we have about them. right? Both people are who they are, and they are completely neutral. Each person is just a neutral circumstance. And that is exactly the same with the people in our lives that we may consider toxic. The environment that you're in and the people around you are not toxic. It's the way that we think about them that labels them as toxic. So, when we do that, we're giving those people or circumstances all the power over us. And this is where it can cause a big problem in your life. So often we label someone as toxic to justify how we respond to them. So if they're toxic, how we react to them is not our fault, right? Have you ever said, I just hate that person because they're toxic, or I don't engage with that person anymore because they're toxic? Once we label someone as toxic, many times we don't take full responsibility for how we respond or react to them. And we can use that label as an excuse for our choices. So that's why I want to help you see the truth about toxic people and situations. So let's look at a real life situation where this shows up. I hear this term toxic or even narcissistic so many times in divorce. People say, I had to get a divorce because my ex was toxic or narcissistic. Okay, y'all, this is not true. Your ex is not toxic, and neither is mine or any other person in your life. Now, you can still choose to separate from them, divorce them, and never interact with them again if you don't have children together if you want to. But that doesn't mean you need to label them as toxic or even narcissistic. They are who they are. They may make choices that disappoint or hurt or affect you greatly, but it doesn't benefit you to label them as toxic. Your thoughts about them are causing you to believe that's true. Now, you may be thinking, Jenn, you don't know my ex. They really are toxic. And that may feel like the truth, but you could think of them in a completely different way if you want to. You could choose to think of them as damaged and unwilling to do the work of healing from their past, just projecting their pain onto everyone else in their life. There is some compassion in this approach. It allows you to recognize that they have the potential and the ability to change, but they may be unwilling or unable to do it right now. They're just not in a place where they're ready to do this work, but maybe one day they will be. But for now, this is how they are showing up in their life, and you're not willing to live with that. Can you see how this view takes away some of the drama and it just makes them who they are, a neutral circumstance? So, I want you to notice how perpetuating the narrative that your ex is toxic or even narcissistic is keeping you in a victim mentality, which makes you powerless. And it's not a good place to be, and it's not reality. You have the power and the agency to change your situation if you want to, and you can use it to make the best choices possible for your life, especially if that means separating or even divorcing that person. So, today I'm suggesting that you give other people permission to be who they are and focus on being the person that you want to be, regardless of how they act. I want to help you see the truth about toxic people. So I want to give you some practical steps to help you deal with the quote unquote toxic people and situations that may come up in your life over the holidays. So let's take a few minutes and think about who comes to mind when I say, who is toxic in your life? Maybe it's a scenario or a person or a relationship. The first step to flipping the script and uncovering the truth about toxic people in your life is knowing where this is showing up for you. So think about who you consider to be a toxic person. The second step to discovering the truth about toxic people is to ask why. Why do you consider this person toxic? This is where your brain is going to tell you a lot of stories. The reasons why you may believe your ex is toxic is that they're manipulative or controlling or even narcissistic. You will have a lot of evidence in your mind for why this is true. So I want you to write it all down. Write down all of the sentences in your brain proving that this person is toxic. Okay? Write down every reason you can think of. And step number 3, and this is the most important step, I want to challenge you to flip this script in your brain. I love the technique that Byron Katie suggests of asking how the opposite might be true. So look for evidence for each one of the statements that you wrote down for the opposite to be true. How can you make this person or this situation completely neutral? How can you look at it from a totally different perspective that takes out all the drama, but it helps you see a different explanation for why they are the way they are? And how can you take full responsibility for your thoughts about them? Okay, let me tell you a secret. Everything that you wrote down, all of the reasons why this person or situation is toxic, all of those stories that your brain is offering you, they're all just thoughts. They're not facts, okay? They're just thoughts that you're choosing to think. And by taking full ownership of them, you will gain control for how you view this person and how you allow this situation to affect you in your life. And then you can choose how you want to respond when you're around this person, okay? It helps to decide beforehand. So when things come up, you're not caught off guard. But when you can see that they're just a neutral circumstance and you choose how you want to show up, you take your power back. Ultimately, you have control over how you respond to other people and situations in your life. You have the ability to control how you think about people and situations. And you don't have to switch to viewing this person as a positive influence in your life, but removing the label that this person or this situation is toxic means that you take back the control for how you want to respond to them, no matter what they do. You don't have to go to their house for Christmas. You don't have to put yourself in situations with them, again, if you don't want to, but you're just giving yourself the choice and reminding yourself that the situation is neutral. When you do that, you have so much more control than you think. So, the 3 steps to understanding the truth about toxic people are number 1, identify who or what you think is toxic. Number 2, ask yourself why, and then write down all the stories you believe about them. And then number 3, take full ownership for those thoughts and choose the thoughts you want to have about this person and this situation. This will empower you to allow the circumstances in your life and the people in your life to be neutral. And then you take full control of your thoughts and feelings. And then choose how you want to show up and respond when you interact with this person. You can choose to change the stories that you have about this person, or you can choose to keep them, but you keep the power and the ownership over this person in your life. If you do this, you will take control of how you are affected by toxic people and situations that come up in your life over the holidays. At the end of the day, relationships are about choice. We cannot control how other people act or show up in our lives, especially around the holidays when you're dealing with divorce. But you can control how you think and feel about those people in your life and how you choose to respond to them. When you let go of judgment, it opens the door for your empowerment, healing, and growth. And this is what I want for myself and for you. Thanks so much for being here. Before you go, give this video a thumbs up if it has helped or encouraged you. And take a minute to comment and share your wins. Share how this is helping you. It will help someone else who is struggling. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more faith-filled inspiration in your divorce journey. You are not alone in this journey. God is with you every step of the way, helping you find peace and joy as you turn to Him in your times of struggle. Keep seeking truth and stay strong. You've got this, friend. Bye, y'all.